Hey,
There we go. I started watching Verticals in 2023.
nice.
So I've been here for the long haul. I think my first one is a tie between Eric's first one and Casey's first one. Don't really fully remember.
Which is You Belong With Me. What was Casey's first one?
That is not Eric's first one.
What was it? Oh, Eric's first one was the werewolf one, right?
Hmm.
That's
And
right.
then
Yeah.
Casey's first one was also a werewolf one.
Ah,
So,
that's right. I forgot Eric did that one with that was Ashley.
yeah. I've seen over 3,000 of them. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm a little.
That's a stat.
A little verse. I didn't get a whole lot of conversation with you. One, because people at VertiCon were everywhere. Yeah. And then the awards show, you guys were there for the festival, and then all left.
Yeah, 3,000 verticals. Is that start to finish, or did some of you just like, yeah, bowing out halfway through?
Most of them are start to finish.
Wow.
I don't think I've really had an issue watching a lot of them, except yours.
Yeah.
But I think we chatted about that.
Yeah. Okay.
But I got through it. I did my review.
Yep.
Only took months to unlock. You moved from Connecticut to LA.
I did.
What prompted that move?
That move was, man, I'll give Eric the credit on that one. He was living out here and he was modeling at that point. I was still managing construction projects, and I came out to visit him a few times, and I knew he was modeling. I wasn't really into it. And I got a DM on Instagram from a photographer who asked to shoot. He was in New York, and I was like, no, that's okay, just not my thing. And I told Eric, and he's like, that's a pretty well-known photographer. Like, not why'd he message you, but like, that's kind of a big deal. So I'm like, I still don't want to do it. And he got a course and he's like, oh, you should try it. And I'm like, fine. Like after a while, I'm like, fine. And I did it, and I had no clue what I was doing. I still think about his name was Chuck Thomas, and it was like I had no clue. Like he's like, all right, stand in different poses. I just literally stood there and like turned my head different ways. And he was like the most patient person, so patient, like so nice, and like guided you through like, why don't you try this, he was very like understanding. I was just like, Jesus, what did I bring this kid in for? And then after I saw those photos, because prior to that, like the only experience with taking photos I had was like when your mom takes your Christmas card and like you don't want to touch your sibling, and they have you in matching pajamas at made, or whatever, JCPenney or Filene's or whatever it was. And so when I saw those pictures, I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like somebody like, edits photos and knows how to use a camera and, all that kind of stuff. So when he posted them, I kind of had some more opportunities come up with like modeling. It was just kind of like every now and then I do it. And after COVID, Eric, after like, we chat on the phone, and he was like, you should move out here. And I was like, no. And then after COVID, I was burnt out because we never missed a day of work during COVID on the job site. We kept it running. And I was like, fine. So I finished the project I was on, packed my truck, and drove across the country. And I kind of thought it was like you just hit California and then everything works perfectly. I was like, hey, California, start working, and that was not the case at all. And it was miserable. Like, not miserable, but it was just like, I like to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like sitting around. So before that, all my jobs from when I was in high school, starting when I did like, fast food work, camp counselor, like all that kind of stuff. I never, even after college, I never applied to a job and didn't get it in my life. And so it was like the first time I hear, I'm like, wait, I'm applying to jobs and they're saying no. And it was really tough. But so, yeah, I kept to it. Luckily, Eric was, very helpful, and got here and finally started finding my footing, but it took a while. It was not, I was lucky in that aspect. It might've taken sooner than some people, but like, it was still like a while of just like, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now we're here, and I still think that all the time. What am I doing?
Just now, you're like, yeah, what am I doing with life?
Always, like whenever I'm slow, I'm just like, what am I doing? What, yeah, there's constantly times where I'm just like, what am I doing out here? And then you get through the good, like, cause this industry is like this, like, or a lot of life is like this. So like when you're up here, you're like, this is great. And down here, you're like, what am I doing? Like, but it always comes back. It just takes a while sometimes.
So how did you get your first vertical role?
First vertical ever. I think I did it. I don't know if it was, I know if I was a day player, basically like a very quick background day player. And it was, I believe it was like the Crazy Beach, something about Crazy Beach and Idol. Like, and I don't know, I never saw it. But I saw the casting and I was like, okay, like cool, I'll go make a little bit of money, like, show up. I didn't know what it was, didn't know it was acting, figured, you need that paycheck. So I'm like, perfect, like go get, for it was only a couple hours. Went there, didn't know what it was, but did, whatever. Actually, they were like, you're the dancer, right? I'm like, no, not the dancer. But that's what I was hired for. So they taught me like very, very brief like thing on stage with like, I forget who the actress was. I literally had very brief interaction, but she was doing this little singing scene with a little dance that she did on a stage. And I left, got my check, and then I was like, that was neat. Eric was doing a couple more. So then I think I did one more day player that I was on one of Casey's. I met Casey really briefly. And then after that, I jumped into, again, I was like, but this is fun. Like you're on set, you're literally, there's snacks over here. I think I walked onto the first day player. They're like, lunch is over there. And I'm like, lunch? I just got here, but sure. Twist my arm. Like, yeah. And then after those two, I think I did the one with Nick Rotacco and Sophia DeLucchi, which was, and Casey Schreier, which was She's Not Your Fiance. And that was more when I first kind of had the experience of like, doing it all. And again, I look back and I was like, okay, like I like instant feedback, which is with verticals, they come out very quickly. So you get to kind of see yourself, because I'm my own worst critic in a way. So I like seeing it. And that's how I learn, like, okay, in your head, you do something, you're like, oh, I thought I looked like this. And then you see it and you're like, I didn't look anything like that. Like I thought I was giving this kind of energy, and we didn't play like that. So after She's Not Your Fiance, I think there was one more in there that I might've done. And then I headed out to the first lead I did in a vertical was actually in New York for Real Shore, which was Who the Heck Did I Sleep With Emma. And after that, I jumped right to Atlanta, and I was like, this is like, even my parents, like, someone's paying you to do this. I'm like, I don't get it either. But like, yeah, I'm flying around doing this. Like, so yeah, that was my first experience into acting at all, was jumping right into the verticals, which again was a little daunting. Just some of these actors and actresses and this like are super, super talented. They went to school for it. They studied, at like prestigious universities. And I just kind of showed up and found the snacks on set and went over there. But luckily, everyone's been super helpful and very open to all of them. Even anybody, directors, fellow actors, if in a scene, I'm like, if there's something, which I think is important for everybody, no matter what aspect of life, where it's like, if you see something I can be doing better, like feel free, give me notes, which is any aspect of any career, anything. Like I might not take them, but but give me your suggestions, kind of thing.
We'll listen, but
yeah, like give me, if it's like, it's like anything, any like everything. Give me advice. I might go, and then do whatever I want anyway. But take a little bit here, take a little bit there, and at the end of the day, like I said, it's so much fun. I mean, you were at the awards and hung out with all of us. Like, granted, like everybody's friends, from the space, which is really cool.
You guys were so inviting to let me sit with you. I was like, I'll just go sit by Casey, but
come on over. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like that weekend was a fun weekend. But that's the thing. This industry, it's starting to grow. I mean, rapidly. With I see people all the time who I'm like, I recognize their face. I'm like, I haven't seen them before. Haven't seen them yet. But like there's so many people where again we've all worked together, which makes it, at the end of the day, you're like working with friends kind of by the end of it. And you get to know each other very quickly, spending like 12 hours a day this far apart, because you run out of surface level things to talk about very quickly when you're like, sitting in a bed between scenes, rather than like, what's your star sign? That gets old really quick, like, get very quickly. It's like, what trauma did you have as a child? No, not that quick, but it gets like, you get to know each other very quickly.
I get that.
It's all right. So you said your first verticals was a tie between Casey and Eric's.
I can't remember exactly which one because I was in a really bad part of my life. I had just escaped my abusive ex-husband. So it was like, that was my me time.
Yeah.
And then I kind of healed from that. And I was like, I just enjoy watching these. So
yeah.
Continued.
And how'd you find them? Was it through an ad on Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's how most people are. I feel like and a lot of people are starting to see them. We were at the gym the other day and somebody came up and asked us about them. And we're like, you might have seen them on, if you've been scrolling on social media, you see something like most people. And one girl was actually, oh my God, yeah, like I did. And she's like, I always click and she's like, I get to that paywall and I'm always like, she was like, at first she's like, I don't know if it was not a scam, but like if I put money on, is there actually going to be more footage on the other side of this? Or is it just going to be nothing? We're like, no, there's a story there. We're like, yeah, a couple hundred, yeah.
Because I remember hitting the paywall, and I was like, you know what? I'm living for me, except month, and then I kind of just kept going from there.
How many apps do you have?
I actually just went through and cleared out all of them. I used to have 84. I now have 26.
So I didn't even know there were 84. I'm sure there's some that maybe are defunct.
There's over 100.
That's insane.
But a lot of them are they'll take like ones that have already been put out.
Yeah.
Just rename it and throw it on another app.
What's your core ones that you go back to?
The 24 that I have.
Okay.
My main one right now I'm catching up on is Drama Box.
Okay.
And then I'm about to get a subscription to Dreamy Short.
Okay. I haven't done Dreamy. Drama Box I scroll through. There's some decent looking ones on there. Like I actually some on there that I saw were like, they might have not done like commercially well with their numbers, but they were like super cute, or I'm like, oh, this looks like a super good one. Like why aren't those numbers higher?
Mm-hmm.
What's your genre then? If their first two are werewolf, are you more werewolf?
No. So I don't know. It's the like mistaken identity ones.
Yeah.
Like they'll get married and then one of them will go overseas for a while and come back and want a divorce or something. Those are my like top favorite. Just because there's always something new. Like I've seen a divorce lawyer. I've seen a marriage investigator. There's of course just the assistant.
Yeah.
And there's always something new with them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, sometimes those are, I like it, that one. I like those genres too, because a lot of times they're like, more of, I don't want to say real people, but like, at least it's like, oh yeah. Like I did the divorce lawyer. That was my one I did of real short. And it was like, it's like, okay, it's a lawyer, like who fell for his client. I could see this happening, like that's, yeah, I'm sure that's happened, like honestly.
But hidden identity is mainly where I go.
Okay.
And of course, I like all of them, but
that's, yeah, but you can narrow it down. Do you do like have you done any of the sports ones?
I have.
Yeah.
What I've seen over 3,000. Why?
That's true. Actually, yeah, I was like, there's not a genre you haven't. There's not a genre you haven't seen.
Horror.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I'm actually not a horror person, like movie wise. Don't like them.
Can't be
scary. I watched. I think like one of the first horror movies I watched. What's the one? Is it Friday the 13th where it's like the kids are in the canoe and the monster comes out of the water, grabs them. Mm-hmm. We watched that on the beach. We used to do movies on the beach, so like we watched that on the beach. And then I remember like it was dark out. And we had to ride home, and I had a moped, and I rode home, and it goes under our house. Like it's kind of like a crawl space. And I just remember like getting there and the lights are off, and I'm like, I'm not going down here tonight. Like this is gonna stay outside till the morning, kind of deal. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't do horror. Not like I don't like haunted houses. I don't like walking through like the mazes where people jump out. Not fun for me.
I can put it past. We can still be friends.
Perfect. All right.
It's not everybody's genre.
I can't. It's too like legitimate. I just get too scared. Where I'm like, well, got to go in the basement to get a snack. Not going down there anymore. You know.
Get that. You know the VBC, right?
Yes, the vertical viewing.
Vertical View Crew.
Vertical View Crew. Yes.
I usually go on a little rant about them because a lot of people haven't heard about us. But I'm like, we do enough of you guys, and then of course VertiCon.
VertiCon's definitely where I heard it. Like, well, actually, it was the what was it, Thursday night when we bumped into each other at the little festival. That's when the Vertical View Crew, and then all of a sudden, like throughout that whole weekend, that's all I heard, and I was like, okay, like
we're trying to get our names out there, okay?
BBC.
Okay, so what was the most challenging thing about doing your first vertical?
The first vertical,
like lead.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do the supporting. You want to do lead, or I could do the supporting. The first one I had a lot of lines was the "She's Not Your Fiance" with Nick Rotacco, which I was the lead villain in that one. Mm-hmm. But I remember like the first day on set I got there, I was only there for like 1 hour, and it was just to do an intimacy scene, and I had never done an intimacy scene at that point and in my life. So like it was just literally walked on. Sophia DeLucchi was and Casey Shriver. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Jeff. I'm Sophia. I'm Casey. Okay, I guess we're doing the scene upstairs. And so like that was just like a new experience for me. It wasn't tough. Like it was very professional. Like we had an intimacy coordinator. Everybody was super professional, helped us through. But it was just like that was a new experience for me where I was like, okay, I've never done this. This is like, didn't see this at the career fair. So that was tough. And then even just the director, Daniel Wang, and that one, he pushed you like to get good performances. And it was very much just, it was a lot, I never had to memorize that many lines. You're trying to please, the director, like the writer, everybody like that, producers. So just having like the first time you go, it's a little daunting where you're like, everyone's looking at me here. I'm hired to do a job. It's truly a team effort where you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? When it's like a big scene with a bunch of people in it. So you're like, I don't want to be the weakest link. I had everybody around me. Nick Rotacco has done whatever, Broadway and Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Sophia and Casey went to school for this. They're super talented. They can do all this stuff. And I'm just here like, don't mess up. Like don't screw this up for everybody. But so it was just, the whole thing was, they were super awesome to work with. So I don't think anything was to the point where I couldn't do it, but it was just like, okay, like go in there, like study, don't mess this up. Because like you screw this up, you're not gonna like, this is your first kind of like on-screen leads. But just, the most challenging part was getting the shot in the first place, like getting the audition and doing it. And that was an audition that I remember we did actually, I think it was on Eric's birthday because we went snowboarding after, but it was just getting the audition and nailing the audition was the toughest part, trying to get something that was, the auditions are very difficult. I think honestly, that's probably the most challenging now that I think about it, because at least when you're on set doing the scene, you're very much immersed in this space where I think that's the best scenes I've done is when you forget the cameras are there, right? It's just, you, whoever else is in the scene, you're in the room, where this is actually supposed to be taking place, where when you're doing your auditions, it's like you're in your apartment, in your bedroom, trying to create this world that's like not really there, like it's a lot more difficult to create this land where it's like, I'm talking to somebody over here who's not actually there. And then I'm going to pretend I got pushed when nobody actually touched me. Like it's auditions are definitely the hardest part, I think, of the roles. Getting there. Once you get to set, if you prepped well enough, that's when it kind of, you're not coasting, but like you're like, okay, I've worked, I'm ready, let's do this. You can fall in the movies here until you have to cry. That was kind of tough.
So you've played both villain and hero.
Yeah.
Which one is like, what's the biggest difference and which one do you prefer?
The biggest difference, they're both really, they're both super fun for different reasons. I think villain, which we talked about a little bit on the heroes versus villains panel. It's like the villain, you can't go too big in your performance. Like the director is never going to tell you to like dial it back. For the most part, they're always going to say like, no, these, are very melodramatic. So let's go big. You really sell it, yell. That is really fun sometimes. The hero, it's always, it's fun because you get to save the day, but a lot of times they want you more reserved and stoic. And you're like, well, I think in this situation, I'd be a little sad, or whatever with this emotion. Like, no, you're powerful, stoic. So that's definitely the biggest difference is you're a little more reserved for the most part is the hero. Villain, you get to fly off the handle, which is clear in a lot of the ones, especially, you gotta get super into it, especially into like Mafia Housewife, where it's like, can't go too big, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, heroes are more reserved. I do like both. I wish some of the villains, some of the themes were changed. But they're both so fun for different reasons. Like especially if you have a good villain, if you're playing a hero and you have a good villain, you're playing your villain, you have a good hero to bounce off of, like that changes everything too. I don't know if I have one that was like, if I could say, I like saving the day better, obviously. But, I think one of the ones that was kind of in the middle was like the one I did, which was with Kira, which was, oh man, it was it used to be called Destiny's Secret. I forget what they changed. It was on Drama Pops. I forgot what they changed the title to. Destiny Had Other Plans.
Mm-hmm.
In that one, because Grant Vettman in that one was my character, and he was just he was a CEO, but he wasn't like a billionaire CEO. He was just like a hardworking dude at the company she worked at. So that was a little more of just like you just kind of played a guy. Like I had a decent house, but it wasn't like, this is my mansion that my parents left me and I need to marry someone to get the family business. It was just kind of two people calling, which was really cool. So back to your original question after my little rant there. The biggest difference is, one you can go too big, one you can't. But I don't know if I have a favorite. They're great, like ranges, for different reasons. It's fun to do both. Like I said, I wish some of the themes would be changed, but they're both super fun to just exercise, the ability to try new things.
Okay. Brain's going off. Aline is doing her Vertiverses right now.
Yeah.
How do you feel about being nominated for Alpha?
It's cool. I granted, I'm just gonna be honest, I'm not gonna get that Alpha spot here. Those other guys in that category are way where they've got the Alpha down. Really, because all my Alpha ones were very they weren't super wolfy. Like I did the one with Mark Vega and Mark Pontarelli, which is technically werewolf, but I never did any. There was no transformation. There was very much. I was the comedic relief in that one. Is the male model brother, and then the one I did with Anna Russo, which was it Falling for My Billionaire Alpha or Billionaire Alpha Won't Let Me Go? I'm sorry, Billionaire Alpha Won't Let Me Go. That one again, the wolf. I actually loved that one because the werewolf was a very much underlying tone of forbidden love. But I think Eric's got a good growl. Tyler's got a good growl. They got the facial hair for it. I'm honored to be nominated, but I'm very self-aware that I think they got me. But honored to be in the lineup. But I think I'm gonna fall somewhere down. But just being in the list was awesome. Werewolves are I know Eric does. Eric's got a good werewolf one. Can't do the growling thing. I'm still getting back up the lingo with the the moon goddess, the Lunas. I'm getting trying to get the lingo. I wasn't the werewolf guy though, but I'm glad. I'm love that I'm in that list.
Because I think that was one of before I started my review page, I would just post little snippets on my personal page. I think that was one of the first ones that I posted a small review about. I think you had interacted it with it.
Which one was it? Which the
Billionaire Alpha Won't Let Me Go.
Yeah. You do your reviews. How do you do it? Do you watch it all the way through and then start putting your thoughts down, or do you go kind of make notes as you go?
It depends. So if it's one that I saw the ad for and I'm super excited, Love and Blood.
Yeah.
I've been following it since they were filming. And so I was super excited for it to come out. And so I watched it, and now I have to go back and rewatch it to do my review.
Most of my verticals I watch. I should say all of my verticals I watch. Love and Blood was one of the few other ones that I actually watched all the way through.
Did you go to the pre-showing?
Yeah, of course. I feel like I had to. You know, no, yeah, of course I went. It was fun. We watched right up to the paywall at the premiere.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I lied. My first review of yours, my first of yours that I did like a review on my personal was Billionaire's Matchmaker.
Oh, okay. Still amazing one. One of my favorites. Billionaire Matchmaker, that was a great one. I wish we did more kind of, you know, lighter, you know, for the most part, it was a little lighter, cute, you know, like I like that one was fun.
It wasn't bad to watch. It wasn't hard.
Thanks.
What did I say about it? So I said tomorrow, watching as soon as it premieres. And I did. I even subscribed and everything. I was like, this is happening.
Thanks. I like that one.
Oh, I said this vertical had me captivated the entire time. I cannot genuinely express how much I love this. The acting, phenomenal. The storyline, amazing. The way it all came together, perfect. Definitely going in my top 10. I don't have a top 10 anymore, but...
Well, it's still in there if it did.
It is. I think it's still in my top 20.
That was a, you know, I'll say like, you know, lightning strike of luck, but it was just that whole team of, you know, the director on that one was Casey Jackson, who was the same one as the one I did with Mariah. You know, and he was an actor in theater, and he studied I think he was in Russia for a bit. Like he studied all over the world. So he like really like, you know, when you're on set, he's doing like acting exercises and they're like, you know, kind of pushing you like a little more, you know, he pulls it out of you, which is great.
I haven't gotten a Flare Flow subscription yet.
Okay.
But your Shoot at My Heart was talked about so much.
That was a fun one to film.
Or like so real. I had to like save up the coins because I was not paying $32 for a week for one vertical.
I don't blame you. That was the one I did in Syria. That was their first original vertical. That wasn't like they didn't acquire from somebody else. Which that was a great. I mean, just a fun cat, Neela and Sam.
The pool scene. There's
that pool scene, and that was so. Actually, that was a blast to film because Neela. We actually both did it all. The only thing we used the stunt double for was the initial chair tipping over into the pool. That was a stunt double, but after that, it was just us, and it was hysterical because. At the table read that we went to, or maybe it was virtual. No, we did a fitting in a little table read, and they, I shouldn't say a little fitting. There were so many outfits in that one. I think I had like 40 something outfits. Neela had like double because she kind of played two people. And they're like, "Oh, you guys were actually going to film that in a pool." And I'm like, "Sweet, like cool. Like I would rather to make it look a little, you know, cooler." So Neela and I were both super into it. And then the morning of, because I think that was like October, November, and the morning of, I mean, it was cold for LA. It was like 49 degrees. And I remember just driving to set. I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. You know, like, because I knew we had 6 hours slated for it in the pool. And I'm like, it's 49 degrees. I don't want to do this. Like, and then I'm also trying to tell myself, I'm like, Jeff, you said you'd do it. Like you told him you were going to do this, do it. And Neela and I just both got there. And we were like, do you want to do this? I'm like, no, do you? And she's like, no. And I looked at the pool and it was like steaming. And so I asked them, like, is that pool heated? They're like, yeah. I'm like, how heated? They're like, it's like 82 degrees. And I'm like, perfect. So like between scenes, they were like, do you guys want to get out? And we're like, no. No, we're like fully clothed in the pool. Yeah, no. We want to stay in. But yeah, Neela, like that was such a fun one to film just because Neela is super athletic. So, you know, we were literally at one point like we were full on wrestling like in the pool. To the point where they're like, cut, is everyone okay? And we're like, yeah, it's good. And like, okay, like they were you know, they thought we were, you know, actually, they thought I was actually having trouble, like,
Mhm.
you know, breathing. But it was good. That was a fun scene. That was a fun action scene to film.
How long was poor Sam tied to that chair?
He was in there for a while. He at one point was like, he at one point was like, "Can I get an umbrella?" Because he was just, sitting in the sun, just like baking, tied to a chair, just because he was watching the whole thing. He's like, "Can someone bring me an umbrella?" Because it was super. I mean, it was 49 degrees, but it was, super sunny. So he just, in his, full tie and everything. Yeah, we just looked over. He was like, "I want to be done with this scene," sitting in the chair.
Oh, that poor man.
Yeah, that was fun. That was good. There were a lot of parts in that thing that were pretty wild.
So was there ever? I don't think I asked this on your panel. No, because I think I was in a meet and greet during the villains panel. Sadly, so everybody's got like pictures from the villains panel, and I'm like,
What did you say? You did miss a good panel. That was a great panel.
I think I was in a meet and greet.
That's all right. Meet and greet's more. It's cooler.
Was there like one of the films that you signed on to that you had a ton of fun on, but when you first agreed, you didn't think you'd have as much fun?
Probably. Yeah. Let's see. Well, you never know what you're walking into, and sometimes like the first, especially when you don't know the other person, the other people. Sometimes like you're trying to get the first time you meet is always at a table read, and it's like, okay, I don't know, what we're getting ourselves into, here, like things like that. I guess that was kind of the case. I shouldn't say I didn't know if it was going to be fun, but with the Billionaire Matchmaker, it was, I didn't know Kirby. I didn't know anybody from that production. I never, I spoke to them on the phone, but that was it. I knew Mark Ponarelli, but that was it. So like, I knew he was going to be there, but as opposed to everybody else, I know, I didn't have, again, I didn't think it was going to be terrible. I just didn't know, I thought it was, go in, do your thing and leave. But that one was a blast. I think actually the one that, it was a travel one. The one I did with Kira in Lithuania, that one I knew Kira before we went out there. We never worked together, but we knew each other. But that was that was the first international one I did. And so we went over there, and it was just kind of like every day after we wrapped, we went out to dinner. We're in this like cool old city. Let's just like make the most of it. We're probably, when are the chances you're going to get back? So that was more like we had fun on set, but like offset was just a blast. We were just like walking around, getting to see the city. We explored like on our day off, took a train to a different city, missed the train on the way back. Like that was a lot of fun too.
Made a TikTok.
Yeah, made some TikToks on the train once we finally caught the right one, which was my fault because we definitely misread. Luckily, travel in Europe is so like the trains are very, very, very cost of, like, it's almost like the subway in New York City. It's like $5, for a ride. Because when we missed it, we were definitely on the wrong platform. And we're standing there and we see like, right on schedule, like our train roll in, and we're like, no, not ours, like different platform. And then it drove away, and Kira's like, I think that was ours. I'm like, no, this train's probably late. Trains are the most on time things. And you're like, no, it's probably not ours. And then like after 5 minutes, we're like, that was definitely our train. Yeah, that was it. So I had to go buy tickets on another one. But yeah, the cast and crew is really what makes these things fun. If you get like a great cast and crew that are fun to be around, and there's a time to work, a time to play, and then you can intermingle them a little bit. But there's definitely times you have to buckle down. But yeah, those two were probably, I'd say they're probably the most fun I had on set, besides my cameo in Campus Rivals.
Fair.
Because that was just, no scripted lines. We just went up and made stuff up for the cameos.
So was your name already decided, or did they just go off of your jersey that you were wearing?
No, we didn't know what the names were going to be. And we just kind of walked in, and we kind of just like made it up once we got there. It's kind of what it was. It was just like, yeah, that was kind of And somebody, I think, I don't know, I don't even know who came up with it, to be honest with you. It wasn't me for sure, but like somebody else came up with it, and we were like, okay, like that works.
Like, perfect.
Yeah, like, all right, sure. The shoe fits.
Let's see. Is there one of your verticals that you wish had gotten more attention?
Yeah, I actually would. I mean, yeah, for sure. I think, I mean, I got a fair amount of attention. The Billionaire Alpha Won't Let Me Go. I think that got like what? It didn't pop initially. I think it was, I mean, it's still, I think it's a what, maybe 20-ish on Drama Box, but I think that was a really good story. So I wish that one popped a little more. That one for sure. I'm trying to think. Actually, I wish the one I did with Kira, Destiny Had Other Plans. That again, that one also was a really good story. It looks really good. It's on Drama Pops. The poster is just very vertically in a mix of other posters that look really, really. I don't want to say more cinematic, but when you pop them all next to each other, and you have, I forget the one that Mariah and Leif did. Well, they did two of them. Eric had, What Happens in Vegas. A couple other ones, like those are really, really great posters. And then when Kira and I really went back to the original vertical like feel of the comedic poster. So I'm not sure if that had anything, but I wish the one I did with Kira got a little more, not recognition, but just exposure too. Because I think that there are some scenes that are really good. The kid, oh my gosh, his name is escaping me. He played the villain, Conan. He played the villain. He did the Pride and Prejudice one for real short too. He was so hysterical in that. But I wish that the girl Jen who played like Kira's best friend, they had such cute scenes together. It was just, I wish that one popped a little more too. Okay. Those two, off the top of my head.
Is there an actor and an actress that you haven't worked with that you would like to work with besides Eric?
I don't know if I want to work with him, but we'll see. In the vertical space, actress, I mean, yeah, I'm trying to think who I've met who I'm like, we should definitely, I would love to do one. Because there's some, let's see, that's a good one. Let's see. There's a couple people on my list, not on my list, but I was like, oh, we haven't done one. Mariah and I finally got to do one. I think, let's see. I'm trying to think of like the last part, like, the Love and Blood release party. I'm like, who was there that I haven't like worked with? Because it'd
make your brain think.
Yeah, because I'm like, I know everybody. Who haven't I worked with? Nicole Maddox would be really fun to work with, I think, because she's just really, really talented. So I feel like she just forced me to have to be better. Who else? There's some people I've seen that I don't know their names, and some of the recent ones on Drama Wave that came out. Some of the racing ones, and I'm like, oh, like that looked really good. Who else is there for? I need to go through like the IMDb list of females and see who's there. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna put myself into. Let's have Nicole and Seth and me just do one, so I can just interject myself into into one of theirs.
We kind of like Zach.
Yeah, yeah. Let me just interject myself and like let them do one. If other than Eric, yeah, let's have them do one. And I'll just interject myself and kind of just pop around a little bit. Because I was lucky, I worked with Ashley a little bit, and I've done 2 villains for her. I got to do one with Jackson. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna interject myself into Nicole and Seth's fandom. They're just gonna pop in.
It's like in the middle.
Yeah, maybe Seth can be the villain. Yeah.
Yeah. I think just getting to meet everyone was cool, and especially since I met a lot of you before VertiCon.
Yeah, I think from VertFest, which was great. Everybody was like super respectful. Everybody, very nice. So it definitely was like, okay, like we gave a, the face-to-face interactions, even just virtually, we're like, okay, everybody's like super pleasant, super respectful. And even the weekend in person, everybody's fantastic, super respectful, super nice. And like, everybody is like wanted to be there, which made it a lot more fun too. It wasn't like, yeah, my boss made me come to this, I really don't want to be here, but like.
What do you enjoy most about working on verticals?
Thing I enjoy most about working on verticals is just one, everybody's super awesome to work with. At the end of the day, we're having a blast making something. I also, being that I've done so many other jobs in my life, there's very few jobs that I've noticed where everybody really wants to be there, right? Like a lot of people who are in this space, like it was their, or acting or doing any sort of, artistic endeavor, it was like their dream to do, so they really want to be there. Which some other jobs, I'm sure there's exceptions, but an accountant for the state just does the job because it's very stable and they're getting their paycheck, and then but granted, it's not their passion. Like I'm sure there are some that are the passion is balancing those books, but for the most part, it's they're clocking in, clocking out, getting my paycheck. I'm hitting the road. Where this, like, truly everybody wants to be there. Everybody's putting their 2 cents in to try to make it better. It's very collaborative. And just like the atmosphere generally is really, really just fun because everyone's enjoying themselves because they want to be doing it. There's very few people I've walked on set like, I don't want to be here. Like 5 o'clock, I'm out of here. Like, no, they're like there to try to do their best. And that's definitely, I think, the thing that I enjoy the most, because it makes the environment and atmosphere fun to be at. And you get, and the snacks you get too. That's probably the most.
It's the crafty.
That's where you find me, crafty.
So if you're not shooting, you're at crafty.
Save a lot of money on groceries. Eating the craft services.
It makes sense. Interactions and reviews in a more professional manner, because it's your job. You're a normal person with an extraordinary job.
Well, sometimes normal. Other times not so much.
You're your version of normal.
I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like everybody else.
Exactly. Like, just because you act and you have a good body, that's not who you are. You're not strictly an actor. You have a personality outside of it.
Of course, and social media becomes a thing too, where obviously we post. Everybody is social media, and Instagram's your highlight reel, right, of your life. Like, not many people post when you're not doing well, or you're not just like, social media is your highlight reel. Where I actually, one of my earlier projects, I was out of town filming, and so I was living in a hotel, so I would go out to eat every night, not every night, but I pick up food from somewhere, and one night I told the director, I was like, maybe the second to last night we were filming, I was like, hey, I'm going to grab dinner, like if you want to come, feel free. So she came with me, and she's like, I gotta admit, I tried to have you kick off this project before you got here. And I was like, why? And she's like, because at that point, like, she's like, I was direct offer, so the platform hired me, but I did an audition. And she's like, I went through all these other guys and I made my selections, and then they basically forced your name onto me. And she's like, but I didn't get to see any of your, all I had was your name. So she's like, I went to your Instagram and I saw like the photos you had, and immediately I did not like you. And I'm like, I totally get that. Like, I totally understand that. And she's like, but then you came to my house, because we did a little table read at her house before we started the project. And she's like, and then you were like normal. I'm like, yeah, but I totally get why, like, Instagram has a perception, that. I was like, I wish you told me earlier. That was super funny. She wouldn't hurt your feelings. I'm like, no, like, I'm still here, like, so you weren't successful. Ha ha. But no, I was like, I get it. Like, it creates that perception of, we post our highlights. So it's like, we portray ourselves a very certain way on there. Another, but at the end of the day, yeah, most of us are pretty normal.
That's
There's many
why,
things like anyone, like you said, we keep things private that we don't post on social media,
and it's what you're right. Like, I'm never gonna dive in and ask you about your personal life because it's your personal life.
My favorite thing is when people.
I don't care if you're in a relationship. I don't care if you're gay. I don't give a shit. I care about your work.
I do love seeing sometimes people are pretty good and with predictions, and sometimes people are way off. And it's funny. Like I do like seeing that where I'm like, not fooled the other. I'm like, nope, I'm like, not at all. Or something like, how did you figure that out? Like you're like, I'm like, how did you like you're right. Like I'm like, huh. Yeah, I don't know how you got to that. I don't know how you figure that out, but like, yeah, you got it.
I think for a while people were trying to figure out your height because you weren't telling people.
Oh no, I'm 5'10". 6'2" energy, 5'10".
Perfect.
No, yeah, no. I would never care. Some people are like, oh, I don't want people to know. I'm like, I don't. That's like the one thing I can't change. Like it doesn't bother me. Like I can't work out enough to get taller. Like it is what it is. Like
you're gonna go into the taffy puller.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm like, no, nothing I can do.
What is a vertical genre that you haven't done that you would like to do?
Sports. I would love to do. Yeah, there's probably two. I'd love to do a sports one, just because I did a lot of sports growing up, and I don't even care. I don't care what sport it is. We could do. Let's do a motocross one. We could do like a Sons of Anarchy one. I mean, I guess motorcycle riding is not a sport, but just like whatever, dirt. But I don't care. Action sport, and then I know generally for some reason the ones I've seen the numbers haven't done really well, but the body swap ones, I just think it'd be fun. Like like I also know like I shouldn't say I don't care if people like poke fun at me, but like if I did the body swap, like I'd be willing to go all, like really just like lean into it. You know what I mean? Like those two, I think that would just be fun. Like a sports one would be fun because it's different. A body swap would be fun because it's just like you just really got to lean into like you can't have any I don't want to say self-conscious, but you got to be willing to really just like let people poke fun at you and really, making fun of yourself, in that sort of situation. Yeah, I think those two I'd like to just do, yeah, because it'd be really fun. I'm not sure what other genres there are that I haven't done. Yeah, horror really hasn't been done, but again, we'll gloss over it, but not my thing.
If you were a drink, what would you be? It does not have to be alcoholic.
No, my mind just went to alcoholic.
You can do alcoholic, but it doesn't have to be alcoholic.
Huh. What's trying to think of like a drink. I don't know. I always joke like I have a sticky note on my mirror. Somebody wrote like a long time ago, just said like a shot of whiskey. It was like, like I don't know why, but it was just like that was funny. I guess I don't know. It's quick, but it gets the job done. That's tough. I want to say like, I'm not super polished, so it can't be like a very sophisticated drink. And depends on the day where it'd be like, oh, mojito, because it's always like you're having that at a tropical destination. It's really fun, but some days I'm definitely not fun to be around. Like, I think, oh yeah, it depends on the.
Okay, right now, what drink would you be?
I think all in all, I think it's just be basic. I mean, it's also one of my favorite drinks, but it's just my go-to drink, which is a rum and Coke, Captain Morgan and Captain and Coke. But rum, it's consistent. You know what you're getting. Like that's like you're consistent. I'm consistent. Like you need something like Old Faithful. Like you need a favor. Like I got you. Just give me a buzz. Like always gonna be no matter where it is, no matter what bar you're at, you can get a rum and Coke. I'm consistent. Right now.
What is a quote or saying that you live by?
That's a good one too. Um, hmm. I don't know. There's a couple. One that always sticks with me is, I don't even know if it's a quote. I don't even think it's a real quote, but like, it was like penned in paper anywhere. But we were, we went through this phase in life where we just found abandoned quarries on Google Earth and we go jump into them, like they're filled with water. And we never knew how deep it was or anything like that. We just kind of hoped for the best. And we went to this one like there was one that had different level cliffs, and there was one that was like about 80 feet. And I was like, kept looking over the edge. And my friend's dad just like looked at me, like looking, and he just looked at me, he's like, ain't nothing but a thing. And that was what he said. And I was like, then I jumped. I was like, you're right. I was like, it's just a thing. Like, there's, like, what is it? Ain't nothing but a thing. And that was cool. Like, I think about that as just like, kind of like, you can do anything, like if somebody else is doing it, you can do it. It's just a thing, like, ain't nothing but a thing. But that one, again, don't think it's written anywhere, but that one just like stuck with me. And that was probably, we could drive. I think we had our license at that point. So it was probably 14 years ago, like he said, that stuck with me for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, that's definitely one that comes to mind.
Okay.
Yeah, ain't nothing but a thing. Put it on a t-shirt.
You know that once I put this out there, somebody's gonna do it.
Nothing but a thing. So yeah, it's in my next poetry book I'm making, or my first.
Your debut poetry book?
Yeah, my debut poetry book.
Do you have any questions for me as someone who has seen so many and that watches them often?
Yeah. So you've seen 3,000 of them.
Plus, yes.
Plus. You said your favorite genre is the hidden identity. Is there a genre that you don't particularly like in the vertical space? Whether it's, not even a theme. I know the themes you don't like, from us talking previously, but just, is there one that you don't like, you simply stay away from, whether it's mafia, werewolf, billionaire, you're like, I've seen it, I don't want it to be redone?
It's not really. There's a couple that are like just straight like banquet humiliations that I will probably never. Well, I can't say I probably never watched them because I did watch them, but they were not my favorite to watch.
Yeah, but they didn't do anything for you.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
What is a genre of, let's say, like traditional film that you like, that you would like to see a vertical made?
Horror.
Okay.
Horror, like actual thriller.
I do think there's a big market of people who like it. Horror is a huge thing that I think people would like.
Because I know Real Short did like I Am Bloody Mary.
Yes.
Which it was like semi there. But it's just like straight horror. Like Friday the 13th. So
yeah.
Obviously not as gory because that's a lot, but something like that.
That's, yeah. I forgot. I did forget that Real Short did that one. I'm trying to think of, because like obviously we always want to progress this space, so it's like that's always questions that I'm interested to hear. Like that I'm never interested to hear. Like I always like how you got started, and then like what is your favorite all-time vertical? Not of mine, just like favorite in general. That do you have one that you go back to?
My top 20. It changes.
Okay.
So anything that I give a 5 or a 5+ is one that I'll go back to when I'm, doing dishes or yes. I'm doing homework and I need background noise because ADHD minds need everything going on. Do you have anything else that you would like to ask?
No, just keep doing the reviews. I don't want to put it out on you, but I actually thoroughly enjoy. The ones that I do or I see other people repost, if I'm like, friends with the actors who are in it, I always do enjoy watching them because I do like not watching, reading the reviews, because I thoroughly enjoy hearing like because I think you have a good handle of like, you know, you speak for, obviously with your reviews, you speak for like a lot of the, you know, viewers, you know, themselves because of the, you know, I mean, you know, all the chatting and the VVC that goes on. So like, you know, kind of the ins and outs of, you know, not what makes one good and what's bad. That's the wrong word, but you know, like I guess stronger, you know, certain things. And it's nice because I get a synopsis of like, when you're like, this hasn't been done yet, but this is a really cool scene, you know, or like this I didn't like, and or like, you know, all the notes, thoroughly enjoy reading them because it only helps, you know,
Oh,
us.
I had asked you to get me a drink, and you were like, and then just walked away. And I was like, all right, cool, thanks. I was joking.
I didn't have my credit card. I didn't even buy my own drink. Or was that
That was at the awards.
I'm trying to think of when it
at
was
the beginning.
Yeah, because I definitely.
You went downstairs and then you came upstairs and I was like, Jeff, where's my drink? And you were like, I didn't even buy my own drink.
Well, I didn't buy my own drink.
And you were like escorting Nick and Brooke somewhere.
Oh, I was saying, yeah, they just showed up. Yeah, but Nick had to buy my drink because I didn't have my credit card. So he literally bought my drink and then he needed to figure out where to put his stuff down. So I was like, oh, let me, you know, like get you over there.
And then I did the same thing with Eric Fillows. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, wasn't expecting him to say yes.
That's
Thanks
awesome.
for making this fun.
Thanks for making it happen. Thanks for doing this. Good luck on your first day.
Thanks. I'm very nervous.
Fine.
Well, because they also were like, when I interviewed, I was like, I'm also, you know, trying to get into acting. I'm submitting my self-tapes, everything. And she was like, okay, you know, let us know if you get a role. And I was like, okay.
Okay. Sweet.
I was like, thanks. I might get it really randomly, but you know.
That's how it'll happen. It always happens where everything hits at once, where you're like, okay, like, you know, not like it's a bad time, but like this is a bad time, but like, okay. Well, I can't wait to see them. Whatever you're in, maybe we'll do a swap review. I'll review it.
You'll review it and post it?
Yeah, I'll review it.
People are gonna be like, what is Eric or what is Jeff doing? Sorry, I have so much on my mind. They're like, what is Jeff doing? Why is he reviewing this?
Reviewed.
And take my format and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I hope that you finish your half-done tasks.
I know. I'm hoping. I just cleared out yesterday. I got everything out of my old apartment. And now it's just like, I'm hoping by, like, you know, end of the weekend, you know, we're more settled. Just to make it, you know, one less thing. Because I start my next one on the 24th.
Okay.
So I'm like, I have 8 days. I want to be by then fully, you know, like, so I can, you know, go to work, come home from work, and not be doing things in between.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
All right, Angel. Get some sleep. Congrats on the new job. Let me know how it goes.
Oh, I will. I'll send you a message.
Please. I actually be very curious to know.
Okay.
All right. Well, you have a good rest of your night, and I'm sure I'll talk to you soon.
Oh, yeah, probably.
All right. See you later.
Bye.